All right, what's up guys, Auto Fanatics. So today's video, I'm gonna show you guys the anatomy of the BMW G80 shifter assembly and explain to you the Rogue Engineering short shift kit. I already have the main body in the car, but I'm gonna set the camera up. I'm gonna go through all the different components and explain to you how the shifter works. I'm also going to go under the car. I'm gonna show you a quick little clip. We're gonna strap the camera underneath the chassis of the lateral movement side to side because this big goofy carrier housing moves and it causes the shifter to feel very notchy, and it just doesn't feel very precise the way I like it. And Rogue Engineering just came out with this rear mount thanks to me recommending them to do it because the factory mount is an absolute joke. I'm going to show you guys right now when we go into the car. We have the factory mount on my car back here, but then up front we have the Delrin, solid Delrin, which is a hard plastic over here, and there's still a lot of lateral movement left and right, and I think that's actually contributing to a really sloppy shifter feel. We have good feel going from second to third, fourth to fifth. Going into first is still a little bit weird, and I think under aggressive driving, this should significantly help a lot. So I'm gonna set the camera up, I'm gonna show you guys some of the components and how this kit goes together, and explain to you why you may want to consider upgrading your G80 or G80-82 shifter for something like this. Now, if you guys are used to driving cars like a Porsche GT car, or even an American car with a Tremec TR6060 or a T56, those transmissions feel, in my opinion, those are some of the best out there. Some of the Japanese cars could be really good as well, but BMW never was known to have the best shifters. I'm going back historically over 30 years. They always felt sloppy, long throw. They just didn't feel very precisely engaged. And a lot of that is based on them using a long, goofy carrier system and a linkage system that's connecting to the transmission. That actually causes a lot of difference in feel compared to like a Tremec, where the shifter mechanism is integrated right into the housing, so you don't have this long carrier, you don't have a long selector rod. It's more integrated and it feels much more precise. So let's set the camera up right now and I'll show you guys some of the components on the table. All right guys, let's get started. I'll show you guys some of the components on the bench. Now, like I mentioned just now, the most critical part of this system on the G80, and this is also on the F80 and earlier BMWs as well, they used a very large cast aluminum carrier mount. Now, the way this mounts here, you have some soft rubber bushings. These get replaced with Delrin bushings, which is going to be a solid type bushing. And there are two pins that are very easy to get. This is an absolute nightmare to get in and out of the car. I do not recommend anyone trying to DIY this unless you're very well versed working on cars and you have a lot of equipment, because the drive shaft has to be disconnected, the transmission mount, a whole bunch of stuff has to come out just to snake this piece out. So I already got this in the car several months ago. I've been using the short shift kit and it definitely has made a significant improvement, as long as the CDV delete that I also did a video on the channel. So the way this system works, you got your two pins up front that are going to lock this, okay, from doing this, but it doesn't really do a good job. And then out back, this is the Rogue Engineering version, but I'm just going to show you for argument's sake what this does. This gets bolted to the transmission tunnel, and this also stops the flex. I could feel it already. This is going to make a huge difference compared to the factory bushing. And you have some E-Torx screws that go onto the bottom of the car just like that. We're actually going to be able to install this. I'm going to show you guys under the car in a little bit, in a couple of minutes, without taking anything apart. We don't have to remove the heat shields or anything else. So right here on the table, this is the OEM shift lever. And this is the Rogue Engineering shift lever. This is the first generation. They actually upgraded this. Now, if you look at it carefully, when we line up the two balls, you can kind of see there's a difference where the linkage is attaching to. And you could actually adjust the pivot ball to change the throws of the Rogue Engineering. And that's something that you can't really do with the factory shifter. So it's also made out of stainless, very heavy, very high quality piece. So you could lengthen or shorten the distance between here, and that's going to change the feel and precise feel of the car. The only thing, like I was telling you, is that you still have a linkage rod that connects here to the transmission, and it is a little bit sloppy by design. You just don't have really good precise fit. This is the little clip that undoes the linkage rod from here, and there's also one on the transmission selector housing as well. And this is a nylon cup. Now, this nylon cup goes into here. You got to kind of twist it counterclockwise and kind of lock it in. And the way this works, this gives it your pivot ball to kind of go in here, and it takes up all the slack. So the way you pull the transmission apart, you undo the selector rod from the bottom of the car, you rotate the cup, pull the stem up, which the factory stem is the same way, and then you start doing all your work from the bottom of the car. It's a pretty involved, labor-intensive process, but the fact is I wanted to show you this video because a lot of people don't understand how this system works, and I get a lot of emails about doing the short shift kit. Now, I understand that there's not a lot of guys that are buying these cars with a manual transmission, but I'm gonna let you guys know, BMW M2, M3, M4, I think this is gonna be it. After this generation, I don't think they're ever gonna offer another BMW M model or any model with the manual transmission. So FYI, I definitely think these cars are gonna hold their value, whether you like the looks of them or not. And I also think in the future, any of the manual transmission cars, no matter what brand, they're gonna be worth a lot more because of the scarcity and the manufacturers are just killing them off. So the fact that we could still buy a brand new BMW, fully backed by warranty, tons of mods, and we could still mess around with the manual transmission, this is definitely something worth doing because the shifter, the way it comes from the factory, is not very, very desirable. And if you drive a lot of cars, I mean, you can get into like a S197 Mustang, a GT500, you get into a new Camaro, a GT350, a Porsche GT4, GT3. As soon as you drive those cars and you drive this car stock, you're gonna think this shifter feels like a piece of trash, and it really does. It just doesn't feel that good. And when you start pushing the car hard and you wanna actually rapid shift, going from first, second to third, you're gonna start missing gears. You're just not gonna feel a very, very precise feel in the shifter itself. So I'm gonna go into the car, I'm gonna show you guys quickly exactly where this is gonna go, and I'm also gonna set the camera up and I'm gonna go in the car and I'm gonna go with the shifter right now, and I'm gonna go back and forth, side to side, and I want you guys to see the amount of lateral movement of this whole housing, okay, right now in the car. Even though I got the Delrin bushings and I got everything else from the short shift kit in the car, we still have a weak link, which is back here, and that's why I highly recommended Rogue to come up with a solution, and they actually did. And this is gonna make, I think, a huge difference as far as the lateral movement of this big giant selector arm and shifter assembly right here. So let's get under the car right now. I'll show you guys some close-ups of what we're talking about. I'm gonna get this mounted in the car. I'm gonna show you guys in-cabin footage, and we're gonna go for a little bit of a test drive. All right, guys, so we're under the car. I just wanna show you guys exactly where that rear carrier mount is, and you could see right there, that's the sloppy carrier mount from the factory. You can kind of see it's a little hard to get in there, but if you're really good with your hands, you could do this job, because I've taken it out before without dropping the drive shaft and without taking out the heat shield. So I just wanted to show you guys, I'll just pull the camera back a little bit, exactly what we're working with. You see the big goofy carrier housing? So that's the piece that's really hard to get out of the car. So what I want to do, I'm going to set the camera up probably like right here, okay? And I'm gonna mount the camera, and then I'm gonna wiggle the shifter side to side, and you're gonna see this whole carrier housing and that goofy rubber bushing moving a hell of a lot. So let's get the camera set up right now. I just wanna give you guys a little bit of a close-up. Well, I'm gonna go to the left, to the right. It's probably gonna be the opposite in the camera, but I just wanna show you guys. All right, guys, so this is the factory rear carrier mount. You can kind of see it's super flimsy. I can stick my finger in here and wiggle it around. So just want to show you real quick. So it goes on to the rear carrier like this, and look how floppy this thing is because of the super soft bushings that are in there. This is all for NVH. This is not for precise control. It's all to make the car more luxurious, because believe it or not, people still complain about noises and NVH in cars. But just wanted to show you guys, this is the factory rear carrier mount. I'm gonna get cleaned up. We're gonna drop the car on the ground. We're gonna go for a test drive, and we're gonna talk more about the complete Rogue Engineering short shift kit on the G80 BMW. All right, guys, been test driving the car with the new rear mount, and I wanna just show you guys, if you had the short shift kit, the number one thing that always bothered me was the engagement from first into second. It always felt notchy. So even though that rear mount, you see it in the video, it's not moving around like an inch, even a 1/4 of an inch or 1/8 of an inch of movement laterally is going to affect the way the selector rod is connected to the shaft going into the transmission. It's going to cause a bind that's not going to feel good. So I just want to show you guys real quick. This is it now, and it feels like butter. So going into first, it feels still very positive, but it took away that bind. So as you're pushing the shifter over and up, that mount was definitely moving a lot, causing it to go into a bind. Now going into second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, it is absolutely easy. So we're gonna go for a quick little test drive. So I really think this was the missing piece of the complete kit, and I'm kind of glad that the owner of the company listened to my suggestion to come out one, because when I put this whole kit in, and I actually had a customer come by too, and we did his, I was just wondering, I was like, man, this thing is like, it's a cool kit, but why is the the carrier housing moving so much. And I just thought that that was definitely a weak link and definitely something that should have been addressed. I got the exhaust system turned off just for the video purposes, but overall the car feels great. Does it feel like a Tremec? No. Very different design and transmission. Does it feel like a GT3, GT4 Porsche? Same situation. It's a different design transmission. But if you've driven BMW manuals in the past, I don't care from E30, E36, E46, they all felt sloppy, they all felt notchy, they all felt like very rubbery, like there was a soft rubber bushing. A lot of that is based because they've been using this carrier design mount for such a long time, and those bushings, you saw it in the video, they're just weak, they cause deflection, they cause misalignment of the selector rod, and I just think for guys that like to drive a little bit aggressively or want to truly enjoy the car, it's not the way to build a high-performance car. So, hope you guys liked the video. Any questions or comments, post below. If anybody in the metro area wants to come for a test drive, you could contact me directly. You can stop by the shop. Also, if you guys want to buy the kit and have us install it at the shop, be forewarned, the labor is going to be pretty expensive because there's a lot of work, but we will take care of this, the installation step by step. Whether you do the full kit, you do a partial kit, whatever, contact me below and I'll take care of it for you guys. Like I said, thanks for watching. Stay tuned for more G80 content, and I'll see you guys soon.